Because part of adopting this technology, whether it's in South Africa or wherever, is can you make it frictionless? Why is Instagram so good? Because it's so easy. It's frictionless. It has these features that is, so we didn't have it until today. But we have that frictionless. And then it's not stopping there. One thing I really want to point out. So like I have my dinosaur, it roars and walks, but I don't know anything about the dinosaur. Now, the name dinosaur that I said once is preserved. So the next thing it asks you is, where do you want your knowledge portal? Do you want it there or there? So I just point it there, and immediately pops up thousands of texts about dinosaurs, or potentially millions. I mean, how much is the internet? Millions of images of dinosaurs and millions of videos about dinosaurs. So all I have to do is like a spoiled shopper in Beverly Hills, select the color and the ones that I like, and just say yes, yes, yes. So I didn't say dinosaur more than once. With that, I have my whole knowledge portal. I have my images, I have text. Now, another thing that magically happens is the text gets converted to speech. So instead of reading boring text, someone as AI has a narration about that. So again, what that knowledge portal creation was another 15 minutes. You all have to say is point where you want it and shop, select the one you want. So again, from 15 minutes to 15 seconds. But it doesn't stop there. Sorry, but I can't. Go ahead. The next thing you want to do, so let's say you want the student to learn about dinosaurs. Like first you want to see how it looks, then you need to learn about its history, etc. But then the next step is to see, do your student get it? Do they know? Let's say they went to that world. So that's when you want to do the quiz, the assessment. And there's 5 assessments or 4. One is locate. Locate the bone in the cheeks or some element. If it's a frog, locate the nervous system. So all I have to do, again, before you have to find blah, 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 it will give you the annotations without you doing anything. And if you select the jaw, you just say jaw, that's all. Identify the, dinosaur is not visible. Identify the compressor, it's an animal. So all you have, and just walks and talks. And then the AI compares. So now I have 5 assessments that I generated very quickly. So this shows a little bit of what you can do. And for me, it's not just that you can do more, because there's a lot of products you can do a lot, but nobody finds them and nobody. The key is how do you combine no time or very little, very intuitive with that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so no more fake questions. Now you guys ask questions. Anyone, go ahead.
So if I understood, you can upload students, so characters in this space who actually are responding to and trying to do the assignments. And can I upload multiple characters? So, and how many? Is there any limitation? And would they experience differently actually these assignments? So, you know, they can just move around that virtual space or not?
In terms of the avatars?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have, you create your own avatar and you design it, you save it in your profile, and then you will have always that avatar that individual student will have. So it's the avatar is saved to that student's profile. So they'll experience it in that avatar. And you can upload multiple objects and place it in your own environment. And then you choose where you want to place it, but you'll see those very models that came up in that lesson. At the very end, just like you mentioned, I can do set my thumbnail. I set my thumbnail for that multiple model lesson environment. And that becomes in essence, a lesson I can share with multiple models.
And so they can use it simultaneously, actually. And can they use it simultaneously?
You can log in. Yeah, it's an individual tied to your lesson.
Yeah.
So you log into the same experience. Someone else can log into that same lesson experience and see those same
and even
assets.
they can do simultaneously the assignment. So it's
yeah, at the same time they can.
It's like, you know, it's like a group exam, for example. It's like, you know, you have 2 hours to do the exam, and within that 2 hours
Absolutely.
time frame, you can just log into the
Log in.
space and do it.
You stay in that lesson as long as you want, complete the lessons on an individual basis.
So imagine, you probably saw the church yesterday, if you recall, when I called the people on. I didn't show that, but imagine if I was a creative teacher, which I'm not, I would say, okay, guys, so let's start empty today. So, okay, John, you get the assignment, so find everything about geology, right? So I want you to find this. Anita, you have to do this and this, and then go ahead, let's work. And then you can see what they're doing. And then they have to report, and everybody's in the same environment. So it's a game changer. Now, you asked another question, can they import their own stuff? So what we showed today was only, again, it will be a 2 hours presentation, but let's say you don't find, of some reason, among this 5 million what you want, but you have your own CAD model. So you can anytime just click import and get that specific model. Or no one has that model. And what you do is you scan it. You use your phone like we did yesterday in Time Museum. You scan it, you just say drop, and now that scan is there. So you have a multitude of ways to get the data in. Frictionless. I say that's not good. I mean, you could do it, but in my humble mind, you have to think like, how do I like to learn? I like to learn by exploring, right? I like to go in the forest and I want to touch something and I wonder, is this poisonous mushroom? Can I eat it or not? I should be able to do that, learn by exploration. So I think what I'm saying is this, the MIT has a method called the self-directed learning, meaning that the best way for a student to learn is actually by exploring. And I think this, with guidance of a teacher, obviously. So I think this blurs the line between creation and consumption. And that makes, so these questions that I sometimes got from Kuwait, like how long time will it take to certify me to be able to create something simple? How many hours? And yeah, the question when you say metaverse, now it becomes a bit redundant because you can actually do it. Now, so that's okay. Yes, please.
What sort of safeguards and controls do you have? So, for example, if you're doing a lesson and say a science lesson, and they were looking at the material latex. Someone searches the word latex, multiple. So what sort of safeguards and controls that you have in place? So if you're doing a science lesson and a child searches under the word latex, multiple other solutions comes to light. How can we control, stop, and restrict?
Yeah, there is a balance here, right? Now today, you can, the way we do it is that once an institution, let's say Babet Boya or Tulumoresh that will present next, they have their own environment. They control all the assets in that environment. If you want to be super safe, the teacher can in the morning, let's say they learn about frogs or biology, will go to the public environment and just import the ones that they want, nothing else. And then there will be a limit to what they will never be able to see anything else than what's in the institution, right? Because each one has an institution. And that's one way to do it. That's the safest way to do it. And given that it's so easy to import stuff, you can just have students say, okay, I need X amount of dinosaurs, X amount of blah, blah, blah. The other way, if you go to the Infinite Lab, you obviously have less control because now it's not an institution. Anyone can log in and then you come into this position of abuse, right? So you can do bad things. So there we're instituting a similar control that there is a filter. And you can also do, so you import things, but it cannot be published. You can see it yourself. But once you want to publish it, there will be some type of filter, so you're not allowed to publish anything that conflicts. Not only inappropriate things, but things that you don't have rights to publish. There's copyrights and other things. So those are the two different instruments. Okay? Yes.
How many people that they can go into that just now classroom, and can they participate to each other?
Yeah, so let me answer
You
that.
have spatial meetings.
It's like special meeting or not?
this is an environment that you can build and you experience it on an individual basis, but you have spatial meetings where you can connect with up to 6 avatars in one place and having that whole experience and looking at different assets in different environments.
It's important to point one. So we teamed up with Agora. Agora is the most famous, let's say, multi-user environment, and they can host, I don't know, software has no limitations, hundreds or?
There are high numbers, and there are multiple elements. Yeah. Photon and Agora will go together for multiple users.
So that's the most for gaming, for example. We have multiplayer. So because we're integrated, it's a push of a button to, for example, Infinite Land, go from 6 to whatever is appropriate. But the reason we put it at 6 is that it's very confusing in a classroom setting to have too many people, especially like if you divide students in a lab, right? You don't want to sit 60 people in a lab environment.
If I can take that. So yeah, actually right now, as per the special meeting, we have a two elements. So there is, of course, ability to collaborate multiple users, and that's up to 20 users. When there is a limit related to the avatars and that abilities to collaborate and communicate voice over IP. So there are multiple levels there. And in sense of the EON special meeting and right now the full body avatar, because there is a specific amount of data, of course, that is transferred for making sure that there is a communication, audio communication, control of the audio communication in the totally new environment. Then it's there. Right now, the current limitation is for the 6 people to be joined, which doesn't mean that from technical point of view, it cannot be increased. So or the options. There's also the other elements is about the bandwidth of coming in. We're also looking for the 5G rolling out and being able to send all the type of the data except the voice, audio, and the avatar elements, but also communicate. So in that sense, right now, to strictly straightforward answer the question for the special meeting, the limitation that we also inform when you're starting the meeting is because it works on an AR mode, you have to have an AR-ready device, which is also from the perspective of concentrating on the most used devices. And then the 6 people holding the mobile devices with the camera can join and collaborate and see avatar. And also, as you were seeing, also transferring data about lip syncing and having multiple avatars. That means the avatars can change, to answer also your question. So the students can have a different avatars for different occasions. And also they choosing what will be their virtual presence for that specific meeting, which is a very important.
But just because I know where Swedish is coming from, for Infinite Land, we will not limit it to 6. We'll have
that's what I also thought.
So we'll have multiple, and the way you handle it. Sorry?
We actually can do more than 6.
No, that's what I said.
In the previous version, we have 6.
Can you come forward, Jan? Jan is shy, but he's the brain behind it. Okay, step forward, don't be shy. We need to see you and to appreciate your efforts.
Right. So before we could do 6, that's because we had only 6 avatars to choose from.
Okay.
But now with the Ready Play Me, we can have much more.
Okay.
So we have tested with about 20, but later we'll probably.
So if you have a concept with thousands of people, the way Agora handles it is that you have a proximity sensor. So let's say within, I only register voices that are within 4 meters, right? And as I'm moving from one location to the other, then I can activate other voices. Yeah.
For my requirement for the just like for the academic point of view.
Yes.
I need about 70.
70. Yeah.
For the academic point of view, 1 class, right? But I don't know how much of your class. My class maximum is about 70 to 75. Mm-hmm. So that is the one for academic.
Yeah.
But for entertainment, it's like.
You have a concert with thousands of people.
Like
if you've been in any of these multi-user, that's how they solve it. They use the same software as we. So there's no difference. There's one that is used on billions of users.
And no need to have the environment like this.
No.
Like we have to be in the room. Maybe we can.
No, you can be on an island.
The professor can float in the hidden. And then the student can listen, floating, everyone.
Yeah.
No gravity.
You know, it's a tricky thing, right?
Yeah.
Because we are going in. I'll give an example. So Facebook had this issue that they open everything up, and then suddenly people got very close to other people, and it's a very uncomfortable situation. And some people just go around and disrupt everything. You get, it takes one party pooper at the party to destroy the party, right? So there's things that we you have to be careful so you don't go totally wild and you create even things that India is very concerned about. So that's why we keep it apart, right? Organization, totally safe, nothing gets in without your approval. If it is that, with a little bit more liberty, but still with some type of rules, right?
But can I, one point, also when you ask a question about finding a data and using a voice recognition to find a contextual data related to that, actually the current process is already filtered. So there is already a filtering of what data will be displayed. One thing as Dan says is what it is in a platform will comes in. When you want to bring a new data or convert, for instance, text to speech options, or find an image about something, then we're using existing libraries. So we're using Google, we're using Bing and others. But there is actually filtering related to the content. So we're using a third-party filtering based on the agreement and the APIs level.
So if they say something profane.
So the thing is, you're not gonna, of course, there might be situation on any system, of course, but most of the time it will go through the filtering process. A separate thing as a default, that is one of the reasons that people are asking, and we have this question, why as a default, we are not enabling students to start to create straight away. That's why we also in implementation we train, because this is we work on training, preparing you that you deciding who can do a creation. That means it's a safe environment from the beginning, and then you can start to fill in with the content which is customized.
That's a very good point. Can you sort of interrupt? Can you just show the interface on EON core that shows what Marcin said? And Marcin, you can show it a little bit. So you have this backend, and in the backend we control in the admin section. You don't have the internet? Okay. So in the background section, you control you have a dashboard. You control who gets in. You control the configuration. You control who can only see, who can create. Correct? Marcin?
Yeah. So actually, and now we mentioned that Mats mentioned that in the implementation process. So there is a very important aspect, and that was part of the workshop also yesterday. Is the platform from the very beginning? The way we're promoting even the platform is to be to be on the side that you controlling. You have the control. We provide the platform. We build the tool. We focus on. We know we do the best in saying building a tools for knowledge transfer. You know the best your students, your audiences, your educators. So you know who and when and how should be getting an access. That's why we build the LDI integration, and that's why we provide the administrative access in the lead admin role, the only role in the platform that cannot be deleted by EON Reality or anybody else inside this. That is on your side. That means you getting a license, you getting the control. And even if we're joining or somebody external joining, it's because you invited the person to join your space into that. To also answer the question about the security, about the protection. So when we're discussing, for instance, with the oil companies, that's why we're saying it has to be a separate deal, separate license, separate access to the platform to make sure
separate institution, right?
That making sure that it's secure from a point of view that the creator putting own intellectual property into it is deciding on what and how will be presented. So
we'll do that in a second. Let's come back to this because this is an important part. But I just want to widen the discussion. So there's a lot of silent people here that haven't asked. So anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'll go next. John and maybe Marcin, how do you see different types of curriculum, lessons, learning environments coming to fruition thanks to Metaverse Builder? Basically, what can we do as a professor in curriculum that we couldn't do yesterday?
Well, the question I get from educators is that they want multiple objects and not be limited to one model. Or the ability to build their own, tweak the models that they see, take it into maybe Blender, tweak it, bring it in. But being limited to one model seems, it limits the ability to bring in so much more content. And once I tell them now you're going to have multiple models in one environment, I think this opened up so many possibilities from an education perspective. So that ability, and then having the students do this as well, create an environment where students can go with their cell phone and walk around places outside the classroom.
Would it be correct to say that previously I had individual experiences and I had multiple of those in a course or a course segment. Now I can kind of encapsulate all of that in one, right?
That is true.
Like
because
a lab.
I mean, before
lab.
The way to do it was to create a playlist. So there was already in EON XR, there is already ability to play multiple, but it wasn't ability to do the interconnectivity between in the same way as it is possible to do it now. also from a creative point of view. Very often we're showing the process, right? So when we want to show the human body, first we're going on the external parts, then we go into the more internal organs, then we go into the cell level, because that's the understanding from top to bottom to understand. So when we're showing a 3D model of a human body, which will have everything, a very complex model with every cell, every organ, and the external, that will be a big model to download to room to play from a technical point of view. It will be also lots of the data that the students might not necessarily treat as the most important. And the third thing, it could be distractive that people will play that. So if we will have 3 models, one full body as the external, showcasing and highlights the basic organs, one of the organ of the heart, and the third model next to it as an organ, as a cell of a red cell, the red blood cell, then you can go from the top to bottom view and build the complex curricular aspect and full understanding. That's A. B, by merging the models, we can think that it doesn't have to be models like the bottle, table, like that, but it could be a model of the room. It depends how in AR we're going to put it. We can have ability to integrate and move the objects. So you put in the environment, you put it then into the context of how you want to deliver that training. So that means you can have not an engine or a human body, but you can put an operation room, human body, and the operation table. And you can bring them all together, which means you're also building a variant design options, ability to present in the real time those information about the variant design, the assessment process related to that. Each of the object has its own individual knowledge portals and embedded into it, but it's like a synergy effect. 1 + 1 we always say is more than 2, because when we think about the people, because there is a synergy effect. Same we're going into the virtual reality level, that we have when one model, it has the meaning. But if I will put here a glass and with the water inside it, it can have multiple meanings, because it shows about the pressure, about the other concepts that I couldn't explain just using one model, because it was just like that.
Martin, you are really hitting on something important. So the way I'm thinking about it, Matt, is that let's say I start with an island. I'm thinking I feel that. But there's an empty island with just sand, and then I had the palm, and then I had coconuts, and then I had some type of hut, and then I had, so actually building something that makes sense, and I scale it, and now we're also having some interaction tools. I've added water, and I put a wave on the water. So we really actually are building by walking and talking. That's one. The other thing, when you're in the real reality, so let's say I'm in a factory environment. I'm with Mercita, and I'm at a factory producing cars. And I discover I'm actually walking the physical factory. And you know, the way my wife, when she wants me to buy milk, she says, put the yellow sticker on the refrigerator and say, buy milk. So she knows I go to the refrigerator and open it up, and I do that. So what you are able now with the Metaverse and its extension of persistent tracking is a totally mind-blowing thing that we haven't even talked about, which is the ability to walk a factory with my phone leisurely and see, oh shoot, this one leaks oil. Okay, this one has a crack. And this one we need to do, oh, this one has another problem. So all I do is I come in, I walk, I attach the yellow sticker, which in this case is the knowledge portal. I say what the problem is. I move on to the next one and next one. 2 hours later, the maintenance repair operation person comes in, and she is guided, opens the same app, and immediately sees the 3 points. And now she walks through that. Not only does she see what's wrong with it, but she also has the repair operation with step-by-step procedure what to do. I mean, that is an enormous opening in the industry sector. And that is a total game changer. People have dreamt about this, but nobody's been able to do it. Or the people that have tried to do it, it's so complicated to break what I just explained, that by the time you're done, it will totally...
Yeah, you can also upload your own documents attached to it, right?
Yeah.
With special instructions.
With instruction, with your PDFs. Yeah. And then the last one, and this goes back to the kid in the forest, right? You know, one way, I don't know if you have this in our country, we have something in Sweden called orienteering. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think you call it orienteering even in English, but it's popular sport where you have a map and you have to find control points out in the forest or wilderness.
And when you come to a control point, you have to solve a puzzle, or you get the problem, or a
Where
question.
you have a stamp.
Yeah, in some cases, you just stamp that you've been there. So this is the
Prove that
way,
you've been there.
I was a reconnaissance soldier in the army.
Walk rally,
What call it?
walk rally.
Okay.
The car rally and the walk rally.
Yeah, walk right. Yeah. You
Yeah.
walk, you run. But sometimes they make it a bit more difficult. So when you come to that control position, you actually have to solve a problem, and you get points on that. So sometimes you call it a giant egg hunt, right? So let's say, again, going back to the factory, instead of using maintenance procedure, you want to train people in the factory on certain machines. So what you do is they have to find a way, and they actually guide you to that. And then at that point, they have to solve a problem. And it's a physical experience. It takes people out to the practice, learning by doing, and all the attributes, knowledge portal, assessment portal, all are there. So I think there's so much. I mean, to be honest, we challenge you, and I'll start with people in Palestine and also Romania and other places that we rolled this out for a long time, how we can do it, and pushes us. And now in European Union context, which will be the next speech very soon, so there's a lot of money today in Europe, millions and billions of dollars for training, but there's also billions of dollars for citizen science. So how do you engage citizens in, let's say, the shaping of digital society? And the way you do it is, the way you can do it is to, let's say you are in a little village in northern Thailand, and you give this Infinite Lab to them to document their own world, okay, whatever that is. And then whenever it comes, and then you vote, which is the best experience. So if I come to that site, let's say Shikishwara, and there's a beautiful place, and there's a waterfall, and I don't know anything about it, I just open the app, and then there'll be 4 or 5 different competing, and one of them that's certified by the municipality. That tells you how Vlad Tepes came in, Dracula, and all that. So that, I think, could be also very, very applicable. So the sky is the limit, but what I would like to end with, I know you have one more thing to show, and my last comment is before we end, is that we would like every participant here in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because this is the beta. And what do you think, Jan, where can we provide a solution to try? 3 weeks? Yes.
They would take 2 days.
2 3 weeks. You'll get all a free license to play with it. We also with that get.
Do we need to download the new?
That will be automatically released on the thing is the good news is that it's one release for all the products as per from the technical point of view. And then, of course, the license, as Dan mentioned, that means that the license is being granted. That means when it granted, this license automatically get access.
We'll walk you
So
through.
we need to download the other app.
No,
Just the update.
Yes. The only way we're showing it right now is because it's a beta release right now on my device. So actually, what I have put here is also to show the progress. So I have downloaded from Sketchfab 2 levels and two floors on the building, and I can present them also the way I was doing it, just to show you also the process from the very beginning. So let me just cancel. And even kind of like I don't have anything. I'm just it's a little bit like a sneak peek preview, but it's a live session in this case. You're going to create, and you saw it probably some of you already on the video. You're just tapping the button, building. You can, and here also you can use the Excel library to answer the question what you're choosing. You can use my assets.
Nobody else that you control it. So
you can use, and I can just, you can use my asset. That means I know that what I have put here, it's only those elements of the building that as an engineer, as a scientist, or as a teacher, I want to show. And I have 3 models here, building 3rd floor, building 2nd floor, and combine 2 buildings together. And those are the data. So I can take the floor in here. So I'm selecting which model I want, going through that process, placing in AR, which is being downloaded from the cloud, which means when it's updated, it will be updated here. And I can have and build all the knowledge portals inside it. I'm going to skip that process, but being able to explore it, put it in a site in any kind of direction. Then I'm going to press plus, add another model, building. And this time I'm deciding that the same word, same keywords is for me, for instance, progressive building, a 2-story together, and I'm placing it next to it because I would like to see it like that, and I will have a freedom of deciding how big I want it to be corresponding to the other objects, how much of the data I want to inject in a different annotations and elements. So it's downloading, and initializing, it's reading the information from the model. Depends how the designer will put it. It will comes right now on the Wi-Fi here in the hotel, but I'm sure it will launch easily.
And then you can, when you save this, the two buildings, the way you shape them, and someone else is opening them, then they will see the whole with the knowledge portal, with everything that is included.
So that was my question.
Yeah.
So basically, I can save everything,
The
so the
composition.
student can experience it even later on. So
Correct.
the
And
student doesn't need me to be online.
No.
And each time you also, in the creating process, you will be able to switch. It comes a little bit closer, bigger, but it as you saw it a moment before I close it, it actually loads a multiple models. In here right now, it loads a two
The
flow.
Wi-Fi is unpredictable because of the walls. Anyway.
So just one question about that. So if you are in the shared space, everything is shared. So when you are interacting with one object, is everyone interacting? Or
So you can have multiple people. The way we do it now, and it's not a technical limitation, is that in the previous model we had one that can be the conductor, right? So not that it's chaos. But if in a collaborative session, then you actually want all six to contribute. Then you can do that.
Yeah, but can you choose if you are in a collective session?
Yeah, you can expand. So you can see that you can initialize. I think you probably
I
have to
feel
restart
it.
it because you have too many things. Okay, with that, I think there's more. You prepare it later. I think we are ready for the next presentation. If there's no more questions, I'm sure there will be. Oh, one more.
Sorry, I see a lot of video inside your channel, EON. But I would like to have the video that tell everyone step by step.
Yeah.
So
that
it's
video
a lot
is,
of video, the playlist,
yeah.
but I don't have the video that step by step.
So we had because of the SEC regulation, so it's been quite I only have the video, but they don't allow me to publish it until
After June 30th, soon,
or soon.
next week.
But for now, I think as long as we don't write about new product, I just show step by step. So if you go to my LinkedIn, then I publish it without saying, so I have the step by step.
Everything is step by step.
Josh, where are you, Josh?
Right here.
Okay, so we'll have it by Monday, right? Monday, by today? Yeah, I have the video, so it's just.
And we can create more of a training video that
Yeah,
we'll do in a training educator course session, where we go step by step and show the exact process.
And just like I found the other apps that they let other people, like the YouTuber, to try out software also. Maybe they can find very good trick on our software also.
Yeah.
That we are not expect that it can do like that.
Yeah.
It will create a value to the software.
It happens always. That's why the reason I'm suggesting to everybody, not only in this room,
Yeah.
everybody that has used EON can go and try this for 1 month, no cost. So they can go in and there will be guided tours. So when you download it, you'll have a guided tour. You can you can in this group or any other groups select a deep dive session. We arrange deep dive session every month. Okay, guys. So thank you. If what I should recommend you, if you are more interested, when we have the breakout session, grab your guys and ask for it. Okay.